Imagine living in a world where the greatest challenges you face are overcome with wisdom, not brute force. A world where the most intense battles happen within ourselves. Today, you will learn the secrets of a warrior who faced not only enemies, but the internal conflicts we all know too well. Have you ever felt torn between the need to act and the desire to protect yourself? Have you ever wondered how to find balance in moments of doubt? In this video, I will take you on a journey that can transform the way you handle your toughest decisions. Each lesson revealed here might be exactly what you need to face your challenges with greater wisdom and strength. Stay with me until the end, and I promise you'll leave with a new perspective on power and peace. In the heart of an ancient forest stood a serene temple, surrounded by towering trees whose canopies seemed to touch the sky. The leaves, in shades of green and gold, whispered secrets to the wind as if sharing stories long forgotten. Inside the temple, between wooden walls that appeared to have been sculpted by nature itself, sat Kazuki, a venerable elder and former ninja, deep in meditation. His calm face reflected the tranquility that only years of discipline could bring. Sora, his young pupil, watched him from a distance, his heart racing with the anticipation of learning yet another lesson from the wise elder. He knew that within the silence of the temple, great teachings always emerged. Every ray of sunlight that filtered through the trees cast a play of shadows on the tatami floor, symbolizing the duality of light and darkness, a perfect metaphor for a warrior's life. Sora, his mind brimming with questions, finally broke the silence. "Sensei," he called, his voice laden with hesitation and respect. "What does it mean to be truly invisible?" Kazuki remained silent for a moment, allowing the question to resonate in the air. He knew this was a question many warriors carried, but few truly understood its depth. Slowly opening his eyes, he gazed at Sora with a wisdom only time could provide. "Invisibility," Kazuki began, "is not simply a physical ability, as many think. It goes much deeper. To be invisible is the ability to remain unaffected by life's trials, to navigate through shadows without letting them touch us. It is about not allowing the chaos of the outside world to disturb our inner peace." His words echoed off the temple walls, each syllable heavy with profound meaning. Still trying to process his master's words, Sora slowly moved closer, sitting before Kazuki. The young pupil felt like a stormy sea, full of questions and uncertainties. "But Sensei, what if I face a situation where action is necessary? Should I always remain invisible? Should I always avoid confrontation?" The question hung in the air as Kazuki reflected on the answer. He knew this was one of the greatest dilemmas faced by any warrior, the thin line between acting and withdrawing, between fighting and protecting oneself. "Invisibility, Sora," Kazuki replied, "is a choice. And like all choices, it must be made with wisdom. There are times when being invisible is the best strategy, but there are also times when we must reveal ourselves to protect what we love. True honor lies in knowing when to make each choice." He looked into Sora's eyes, ensuring that the young man understood the depth of the lesson being taught. Inspired by Kazuki's words, Sora felt the urge to apply the teachings in a real scenario. He stood up with determination, walking toward the forest surrounding the temple. The fresh air filled his lungs, and the gentle sound of leaves beneath his feet seemed to create a path guiding him forward. After a short walk, Sora arrived at a clearing where, to his surprise, he found a group of young men fiercely fighting. Their voices echoed through the forest, filled with anger and frustration. Sora's heart began to race. He remembered Kazuki's words about invisibility and action, and now he was faced with a real choice. Should he intervene and try to calm the situation, or should he remain invisible, watching from a distance, like a warrior shielding himself from external influences? Doubt consumed him, and he hesitated for a moment, unable to decide which path to take. As Sora wrestled with his uncertainties, Kazuki, who had silently followed him, watched from afar. The elder knew this was a crucial moment in Sora's learning. Slowly approaching, Kazuki broke the silence with a calm but firm voice. "Sora," he said with serenity, "this is our story." The words echoed in Sora's mind, bringing a new perspective. Kazuki then began to share a life lesson, something he had experienced himself. Many years ago, I too found myself in a similar situation. I believed that invisibility was the key to avoiding conflict, but I discovered that sometimes true honor lies in making ourselves visible when the situation demands it. He paused, allowing the words to sink into Sora's heart. The young man listened intently, knowing this lesson could shape his future. When I was younger, Kazuki began, I had a close friend named Ryu. We were inseparable, fighting side by side in many battles, always believing that our honor was unbreakable. But on one particular mission, something changed. We were sent to recover a sacred artifact, something of great value to our clan. However, during the mission, Ryu became consumed by ambition. He made a pact with a rival clan, promising them the location of the artifact in exchange for power. I was betrayed, Sora. Kazuki's voice filled with quiet sadness as he remembered the friend who had once stood by his side. Ryu's betrayal wasn't physical. It was a betrayal of trust. It made me question the true value of honor, and for a long time I hid in the shadows, trying to become invisible to avoid the pain. Kazuki's words hit Sora hard. He had never thought of honor in this way. Ryu's betrayal was something Sora couldn't imagine, but he could see in his master's eyes that the pain still ran deep, even after all these years. What did you do, Master? How did you deal with that betrayal? Sora asked, his voice full of curiosity and empathy. Kazuki sighed, as if reliving the moment. I chose invisibility, Sora. I withdrew from the world, believing that if I became invisible, I could avoid the pain. But what I discovered is that by doing so, I also withdrew from everything I loved. Invisibility is not a permanent solution, but a temporary choice. There are moments when we must make ourselves visible so we can face our demons and protect those who matter to us. Kazuki continued his story, revealing how his choice to hide in the shadows had affected his life and his clan. For years I lived in the mountains, away from everyone and everything. I believed that by being invisible, I could protect myself from further betrayals. But over time, I realized I was just running from reality. My clan suffered in the absence of a leader, and I, too afraid of getting hurt again, let that pain consume me. It was only when I realized that invisibility wasn't the answer that I decided to return and face my fears. Facing Ryu was the hardest battle of my life, not because of physical strength, but because of emotional strength. Forgiving someone who betrays us is one of the greatest tests of honor we can face. Deeply moved by Kazuki's story, Sora felt a new understanding awaken within him. He looked at the group of young men fighting in the clearing and understood that, like Kazuki, he too would have to make a choice. So, Master, you're saying that sometimes we must reveal ourselves to protect what is important to us? He asked, his voice now steadier. Kazuki nodded slowly. Yes, Sora. Invisibility is a powerful tool, but it is not the only one. Knowing when to use that ability and when to show yourself to the world is what defines a true warrior. Honor is not just about avoiding conflict, but about facing it with fairness and wisdom when necessary. The choice is yours, and what you decide here today will shape the warrior you will become. Sora made the decision to intervene. With firm steps, he approached the young men in the clearing. His voice rang out, loud and clear. Stop. The young men, surprised, halted their fighting and turned toward him. You don't need to destroy each other to prove your worth, Sora said, his voice strong and full of conviction. True strength lies in protecting one another, not in fighting. The young men lowered their weapons, and slowly, peace began to return. This lesson teaches us something important for our own lives. Just like Sora, we often face situations where the choice between action and retreat seems unclear. In our daily lives, we can either hide from difficulties or face them with wisdom and compassion. True honor lies in knowing when to act to protect what truly matters. And for you watching and listening, know that you are also part of this journey. Join us in the next lesson, and together, we will continue to walk the path of wisdom.